Alright, I'm doing my speech today, and here's Roper. We got German, aka Chris. I guess it's the other way around. And then Eric Workman, and then I'm Matt Green. I'll be doing my speech. Alright, I'm going to be doing my speech on supercars and why supercars, or how supercars are different from normal cars. Here you have a 1998, or about a 1992, 1993 Ford Taurus. I mean, there's nothing imaginative about it. It's just a car. It just exists. It doesn't do anything besides look really bad and just kind of, cloud up everyone's vision, driving along the roads and stuff. And that's not the kind of car I want to have. I want to have a cool car. Then we come to the supercar. It's a new Lamborghini. Crazy, ridiculous body lines, huge inlets, massive wheels, and I'm sure a massive engine. They actually haven't put one in this one yet. It's just a show model. But, I mean, which would you rather drive? Now I want to go through some of the pros and the cons of supercars, ownership, and why you'd rather have a supercar than a normal car. But then again, you sometimes want a normal car rather than a supercar in certain situations. First off, we'll do the origins of where the supercar kind of came from. This is a 1966 Lamborghini Miura. They were the fastest car, production car at that time when they were released. And they kind of set the standard for supercars as we know it now, mid-engine and two-seater. So two-seater, mid-engine, kind of laid the groundwork for all other supercars to come after that. Now all supercar makers started making supercars. This is Lamborghini as well. This is a tractor. That's what they did originally. They made tractors. You can see the Lamborghini and right here on the side. And they still continue to make tractors to this day, in addition to the supercars they make. So, not all supercar manufacturers started off just making performance cars. I'm just going to do a little bit of price comparison. These are brand new 2013 Ford and Chevy, a Ford Taurus, a Chevy Impala, both around about $26,000. That's a brand new, spanking new car. Whereas on your more expensive side with the supercars, here's a used Lamborghini. A 1999 Ferrari 360 still cost you about $70,000. So even if you get an older supercar, it's still going to cost you a lot of money. And you got to think about how much the repair is going to cost too. If it ever happens to break down, it could just be astronomically high. What do you get for your money? Why would I want a supercar over a regular car? Well, most cars have, they have quote-unquote leather. It's not really that great of leather. Bentley, for example, doesn't use barbed wire on their farms with their cows because it can nick the hides and create damage to the hide that they're going to use for leather. They also use like teak wood decking around the back seats, kind of like a motor yacht would, just because they can. They have brushed. A lot of them have brushed stainless steel hoods, complete hoods. Another thing about supercars is how much faster they are than regular cars for the most part. For example, the Bugatti Veyron here has 10 radiators, has a W16 engine, which is like having two V8s crammed together, has 4 turbochargers, and has 1,001 horsepower. It has a top speed of 258 miles an hour. It was publicized 252, but on Top Gear they actually brought it to 258. At that speed, your tires will run out in about 13 miles. So after 13 miles, your tires burst, and you die in a fiery crash. This is another example of how much an expensive car like that can cost you. Even though it does cost $1.2 million for a Bugatti Veyron, a brand new set of tires will cost you $250,000. So $25,000 for 4 tires. If you messed up your transmission, $150,000 for a new transmission. That's like buying a nice house, a fairly nice house. That's kind of one of the reasons you kind of want to stray away from $1 million supercars, because it's going to be an incredibly large price tag for any repairs. The other thing about them, the looks aren't always just to be crazy looking. A lot of the times those big vents and big wings and stuff like that are just to create airflow and to hit those wings and diffusers to create downforce so you have better cornering speeds. So even though they look crazy, some of them look even more crazy than they maybe should, just because that's the way they were styled for airflow. Here's some prices of supercars. I call these sub-supercars because they're not really that quick or amazing. The Audi TT, Porsche Boxer, Lotus Elise, Ferrari 348. They're all, you can get the Ferrari 348 for $45,000. But again, that's a 1995. So you got to wonder how reliable is a 1995 Ferrari going to be, compared to a brand new 2014 Ford Taurus or something like that. But I mean, here we got a '97 for a Porsche Boxer for $11,000. I mean, that's not that much more than I paid for my car. Now we have some mid-price supercars. You have the Ferrari F430. You have the Lamborghini Diablo, which is a '90s model Lamborghini, and then you have a fairly new Lamborghini Gallardo Spider, all around $150,000. And it may seem like a lot of money, but I can't even imagine how fun these things would be to drive. And then when you come to expensive supercars, which are astronomically expensive. I was talking about the Bugatti Veyron earlier. That's over $1 million. The McLaren F1 is over $2 million just because of how rare they are. They didn't make all that many when they made them, and ones have been wrecked since then, or they're just not being driven anymore. Funny thing about the McLaren F1, engine bay is lined in gold foil on every car. That's not someone that went through and did that just to look like a rich person. And then what it's actually used for is to protect the carbon fiber, all carbon fiber body, from the heat of the exhaust, because that gold foil will dissipate the heat across it, as opposed to absorbing into that carbon fiber and possibly doing damage to it. And then, of course, you have the newest production Lamborghini, which is the Aventador LP 700-4. That's about $425,000, which that's not too bad compared to the other two. But I mean, that's a really nice house. You could buy a plane with that. How supercars can help us. They create a lot of systems for supercars that they later come out in production models, 5, 6, 7 years later. I know Mercedes and Jaguar both worked with cruise control systems that monitored how far away from the car in front of you are. It can match a distance, not only a speed, but a distance to the car in front of you. And I wouldn't be surprised within 4 or 5 years that you're seeing that in every modern car being put out. It's a lot of these high, not the supercars, but the luxury cars kind of set the bar for applications and different things that cars will have later on down the line. Another thing is, it's just crazy to think how far we've come in just 100 years. 100 years ago, we barely had cars. It was, nothing more than really a motor, 4 wheels, and a steering wheel, and you just hope for the best. No paved roads, no lines in roads, and no signs. And in 100 years, we've come to this right here, the Hennessy Venom GT, which is a modified Lotus Elise, but this is actually a production car, now the fastest production car in the world. I mean, going from 100 years ago to having a top speed of, 10, 15, maybe 25 if you're really unlucky and you're dying going down a hill or something like that. And now this car can go 272 miles an hour, which is, at that speed, going through the air is like trying to swim through molasses. The air would just do that to you. So what will the future hold? I don't know what the future will hold, but I just know they're going to continue to push the envelope of what they're going to create, both cosmetically and mechanically, electronically. And what I would like to see in the next 15 years is a production car that will break 300 miles an hour. Now, I'm not sure that'll happen. I'm not sure that's even earthly possible for a production car to do that, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. The conclusion, while they may be expensive, supercars are amazing in their own way. If you're willing to pay the dough and you have, money to fix them, it's definitely going to be a good investment, and I think you'd have a good time. Thank you.